All right. Hello. This podcast, the title of it is called Expertise and Sacrifice. Um, I have a friend and a teacher who is big on the kind of the death theme or the prism of death and dying well and willing to die, and a lot of what this friend of mine and teacher and educator, a lot of what he regards as somehow central to the measure of one's commitment and one's lifestyle and the standards or level of passion to which we live, very often has to do with dying well and being ready to die or willing to die. It may sound morbid, but I find it legitimate. It's certainly one reality about the level of commitment that that we need to observe about ourselves. So, um, you'll hear things like, if you want to win, you need to be ready to die, or you need to be ready to die for something you believe in. And you might even hear a football coach talk like that. You have to be ready to die on the field or on the battlefield, or it's kind of a measure of absolute dedication or devotion. Um, there, there are dimensions of this orientation that elude me, or I can't get it exactly. Uh, to be ready to die for someone, that is very clear to me. There's nothing confusing about that. There's a measure of love and care, and that there's plenty of people in our lives, or at least in my life, that I would much rather throw my life in front of a threat to this person, especially family members. That's an obvious one, and others, that um, I would give my life to protect the life of others. That's a fairly obvious and uh, easy measure. But those things like you have to be ready to die for what you believe in. I can kind of get that. That has to do with something like, or at least in my imagination, there you are being tortured by some oppressor who wants you to deny your beliefs in, say, if you're a Christian, deny Jesus or something like that, and you're so obstinate and so dogged and so dedicated to your Lord, and that that you could easily give your life, but you'd never forego your life of dedication and appreciation for all that your Lord and Master has done for you. You're not gonna. They've been with you through thick and thin. You'll be with them through thick and thin. That's a kind of a stretch into for what you believe in, because there's still a person in that case. I suppose if you believe in the Four Noble Truths, okay, somebody's telling you, no, give those up or something. Do you die for that? That's something you believe in, or Eightfold Path, or anyway, we'll leave that as it is. But so that second part, when it moves away from uh, absolute love and absolute care and absolute kind of defensiveness over the infinite preciousness of the one you love, when it moves away from that, it gets elusive to me. And I read something this morning about this from this same fellow, um, and I'll read it. He's talking about expertise and experts. It's it's the topic of what he's talking about. Uh, and he says, experts must expand the horizons of their fields. So you can be an expert in billions of things. You can be an expert in purification of water. You can be an expert in oceanographic currents that protect dolphins or salmon. Or you could be an expert in medical procedures. You can be an expert as a violinist and so forth. And so my buddy, my teacher says, Experts must expand the horizons of their fields. Already that's exciting for me. It's a new thought. I don't think of that, what you call it, that obligation of experts, but that's fantastic. Goes on to say, we need to know as much about our field as the rest of the world, and then we need to add something more to move and transfer that field to a higher level. So here, in this observation, which thrills me honestly, that mere expertise is not the point, but it's experts, it's those that are at the very pinnacle of any given field are, this teacher introduces that these are the people that need to expand and grow the field, or reach the next higher level, to move and transfer that field to a higher level. And only experts are able to do that. Everyone else of us in any given field are just trying to reach a level of basic competence, but not expertise. Once you have expertise, and so to hear even that first passage is great for me, that expertise comes with it a responsibility to carry the entire human race to a higher next level. It can be on anything. You could be an expert on Socrates or anything. It goes on to say, experts have to make impossible things happen. So there's horizons that are utterly untrod, untouched. No human being has entered into this space ever in the history of humankind. So experts have to make impossible things happen. They're brand new in human life. And goes on to say, you have to live with the mindset that you are the best in this field. Okay, that's fine. An expert has to work twice or three times as hard as others. That makes sense. If you are trotting unprecedented new horizons, say if it's in cancer research or whatever, that individual, in order to break through into something radically and unprecedented in human achievement and human knowledge and human capacity, that person definitely needs to work 2 or 3 times harder. Then my buddy goes on to write, if that does not work, they should try to work 10 times or 100 times as hard. Then, if that is still not enough, then you have to work with the mindset, I will do this till I die. I will risk my life. Then you will win, he says. Okay, so for the first time ever this morning while reading this, I finally get this whole, you have to die for what you believe in, or you have to be ready to die, because it's introduced to me for the first time incrementally. Now, I can get if I'm the best in my field, if I'm going to be a trendsetter or a path break new ground, I get that I would have to work 2 or 3 times as hard. But that doesn't necessarily guarantee that I'm going to break new ground. That doesn't guarantee I'm going to find a cure for cancer or for the COVID virus or whatever. So what do you do if you're working 2 or 3 times as hard as others and nothing's happening? You're not breaking through. Then he says, then you have to work 10 times harder or 100 times harder. It's comprehensible. This to me is comprehensible. And finally says, even at 100 times harder, who can imagine such a thing? You're already at the pinnacle of your field. There's people working at the absolute maximum in your field. And if you're trying to be the one to introduce a new benefit to the entire human race, even if 100 times doesn't work, then you have to feel, I'll do this till I die. Now I get it. Now I get this whole kind of death thing, or you have to be ready to die for what you believe in, or die for what you're trying to do, because it's been introduced to me here this morning in my reading, or at least I caught it for the first time, incrementally. It makes sense. And to kind of have it introduced in an arena of expertise, that not mere expertise, but that experts exist to carry our race, carry history to untrod territories. And with that, the circle gets closed for me, and it's a kind of challenging or scary, but certainly thrilling concept to come my way. Thanks a lot for listening. I'll talk to you soon.